Welcome to Talking Jets, or Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I'm excited to talk to the chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say about yesterday's debacle, which ultimately gave us what we wanted. We wanted the loss. And the Browns won, which gets us up to number 3, so we're like pumped on that. But it seems as though our coach is completely inept. So I want to hear what you guys have to say about the coaching. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the new draft position, where we're standing. We'll do some call-ins at some point. We'll do this for about an hour. So figure it's a little before 9:30 right now. Call it 10 o'clock. We'll go to the phone lines. That's the thought process, at least. I did put a poll question in the chat. If the Jets pick at number 3, they will select. The options are Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, or other. You guys can vote on that in the chat. And I'll give you guys my thoughts on some of the topics at hand right now. Just want to say thank you guys. NY Jets fandom, Jimmy Jets, Cuddy, Frank Haver. Who else is in here? We got Tyree Bailey, Johnny G, Rich Rise, Sprocket, what's up, dude? Glad you had fun at the game. Even though it was a shit show of a game. Glad you enjoyed yourself. Who else we got? Am I missing anyone else? Boba Bombs, Tank for Ty, Johnny Jets, NY Jets super fan. Always a pleasure to have you guys in here. Before I get too far, just want to acknowledge sponsor of the channel, Sleeper. Those of you guys that have been following along all season long, use promo code JetsTalk, get a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. Would really go a long way towards helping the channel. Want to throw $10 on the game or something like that? Open up an account, use Jets Talk. They'll match $10 for you in the bank for you. Think you know football? Then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app, the ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download the Sleeper app and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players from pregame or live, pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your pick wins. Use promo code JetsTalk and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Thanks so much for sponsoring the channel all season long. Whew. All right, so topics at hand. The game yesterday. Team didn't show up. Aaron Glenn did not have this team prepared or motivated in any capacity. Like outside of Breece Hall ripping off a long run late and Nick Folk kicking a field goal, that's all we had. That is about as much effort. And I got to say, looking at the secondary, I don't know how many people I actually knew. I mean, I knew Stiggers. I knew Stevens. I think everyone else was just a mystery man out there. I was like, who is that? Where are these people coming from? Why are they on an NFL field? Questions that you ask yourself on a Sunday watching Jets football. But I will not let this stress me out. I will say Drake May looks really good. Now, it probably looks really good when you're playing against the scrubs we had back there, but he looks legit. Like, this guy's absolutely an MVP caliber conversation right now. And we have now had 4 games in a row where we have had more than 23 points over our score. We have lost by 23 or more points in the last 4 games. We have the most historic point differential in any month in any NFL season by any NFL team. Like, think about how many seasons there have been and how many bad teams there have been. And we are the best of the bad. Think about that. You can hang your hat on that. Rough. I forget the exact number. I think it was 107 points. That's like sticking out in my head right now. That does not look good. Guys don't look motivated. Guys look just dejected. You saw Membu like talking to the press. He's just like, just distraught. Jermaine Johnson, like, clearly not happy. I'm starting to worry that maybe we should have taken the draft picks for him because he's been largely irrelevant since the trade deadline. I love the guy, but man, it's hard not to feel a little like, uh-oh, like maybe this is going to go well for the New York Jets. Hopefully with a little bit more of like an off season and, you know, you get some young players in here, you get some good free agents. I shouldn't say good free agents, but you add some additional free agents, maybe a new coach. Who knows how that plays out. I would still be very, very surprised if the Jets fired Aaron Glenn. I should say very, very. I would say, let's take two verys away. I would be surprised if Woody Johnson fired Glenn after one season. I think when you trade away all like the two best players on the defense, you have like, I guarantee Glenn accepted the position like full on knowing like, look, this is going to be a bad year. Like, Woody, you got to give me the 5 years because like this is going to take me a minute. I don't think anyone expected it to be this bad. I did think we were going to be a top, you know, definitely a top 10 pick. Thought we would probably be a top 5 pick, which is where we ended up, number 3. I called this a soft tank all season. I said, Justin Fields, long shot to be a franchise quarterback, but I like the swing. Didn't work out. Oh, well. But Aaron Glenn looks way over his head from a coaching competency perspective. And then, like, to add a little bit more context to the, like, oh, we got a piece of the Lions organization. Now that Ben Johnson has gone from the Lions are not the Lions organization. That's alarming to me because, like, the guys I was hoping would help bring some of that over here, like Glenn had his defense smoked versus the Vikings to end their season last season. We're getting smoked week in and week out. Like, there's no reason, there's no surprise why Glenn is trying to distance himself as a defensive head coach based on the performances we've put forward. Like, really bad. Really, really not good. Is he going to go the route of like Gerard Mayo? Someone like that, one and done, they pull the plug. My question then comes to you guys. Who do the Jets bring in? What coach wants to come here? Like, we are the most unattractive spot you could possibly think of right now. What happens to Breece Hall? Are the Jets just going to let him walk at the end of the season? I stand pat on my soapbox. I'll stand here until I'm blue in the face. I will be franchise tagging Breece Hall. I would hope Darren Muji has made that calculation regardless of what Breece is saying, the disgruntled tweets, or like some of the messaging. Like, this dude is a stud. He needs to be around here. And there's a very high likelihood we're going to be drafting a quarterback very early in next year's draft. Probably pick 2 or pick 3, depending on where the Jets ultimately finish out. Who it is, I don't know. But I want to give our guy the best possible shot to succeed. And getting Breece out the door is not a step in the positive direction. Even if it's on a franchise tag, I will spend an entire year trying to convince him that the guy we get in the door is the correct quarterback. Or like, you know, hey, you know, it didn't work out with you know, Glenn. We're bringing in John Harbaugh. We're bringing in McCarthy. We're bringing whoever. Like, after next year, like unless they pull the plug now and they just say, okay, it's a dude. We got a guy. Whoever it's going to be, it's going to have to be an offensive-minded dude. We're going to have our work cut out for us on the defensive side. Cameron, what's good, dude? Nice to see you in here. Thank you for the 10 spots. Says, Glenn will be back. Yes, 3rd overall is great, but I hope for 1st. Moore looks to be a strong quarterback with great tools, but I'd rather have Mendoza. Having seen him live twice this year, he is special. I've really liked Mendoza all season long. I've felt very comfortable with him. Like, there's a clutch factor with Mendoza. There's a, you know, beating Ohio State, I feel like, is a very statement game. These next few weeks will be telling for sure, going through the college football playoff and whatnot. Everyone's going to have their eyes on, what is it, New Year's Day, I guess, is when they play Alabama. So we get to see Ty Simpson and Mendoza back-to-back, mano a mano. That being said, I'm totally fine with Moore too. Like, to the point where I was so gung-ho Fernando Mendoza, where I was like, okay, look, we're going to wind up with the 6th pick. I'm fine having to trade up. We got the picks. That's what we were going to need him to trade up for. Because we're that bad, we've sort of lucked into, I don't want to say lucked, but we've fallen into the 3rd pick. at this point. And I have now switched my mindset to some degree where I don't want to trade up at all. I don't care at all. I don't want to flip picks. I don't care. I shouldn't say I don't want to flip picks. If it was like, if you love the quarterback and you wanted to flip the pick and it wasn't like a whole lot, like let's say you're giving up like some second round pick this year just to guarantee your guy, fine, whatever, go do it. But I'm also cool with sticking and picking. Like if you're sitting at 3 and someone wants to jump us and the Giants want to fall back to the Cardinals pick at 5, or they want to fall back to, you know, the Rams pick at, what are they, 10? I'm all right with that too. Like let's say both quarterbacks go 1-2. We're sitting 3. You want to go 𝐼𝐸, you want to go Carnell Tate, you want to go, you know, I'm open to going best player available at that point and not going quarterback. I think a lot of that probably hinges on what our quarterback solution is in free agency, because I think you're going to have to add one there regardless. Malik Willis seems to be the Jets fans' favorite right now. But I also think it's entirely possible that Mendoza falls to the Jets. Like as much as we're all saying Mendoza's the guy for number 1, there's a long offseason. If Moore does declare, there's a lot of people in this chat and a lot of people in the scouting community that think NFL scouts are going to like Moore more than Fernando Mendoza. In which case, I'm cool with that. Like, if that's the worst case scenario where 2 quarterbacks are like, okay, look, there's guys like him on both sides. My biggest thing against Moore is that he doesn't have enough starts. Like, realistically, he's probably going to have maybe 20 starts over the course of this year if he goes to like 2 more playoff games. And I think 25 is supposed to be the threshold. If it's a 5-game difference, he can play 3 preseason games. Fuck it. There's 23 right there before his first start. I'm kidding. But what I'm saying is I think the dude's coming out. I'm feeling a little more comfortable with sticking and picking regardless. I think if you had a situation where you were forced to kind of roll with Glenn next year, bring in whoever your quarterback's going to be. And then 2027, if you got to pull the ripcord, you got 3 first-round picks. You didn't trade up. You're going to be super attractive for some head coach out there. Like, the Jets are trending in an all right direction, long-term outlook. I do not feel confident with Aaron Glenn, though. I will say that. Jonathan Francois says, I won't be excited again until Glenn is gone. Yeah, I mean, look, it's hard to feel excitement based on what we've seen the last few weeks. I think the additions in the offseason will get me excited for next year. Like, even if Glenn's the coach week 1, new quarterback, even if he's on the bench, you should, in theory, have another wide receiver added to the mix. You should probably have some new defensive pieces. We got $112 million worth of money to spend. So I think there's going to be some degree of excitement for the roster. Whether or not it's for Glenn is I guess, sort of irrelevant. But if we start losing games early on, like this is like a mid-season thing. Like we get through the first 8 games, they could fire mid-season. That's all right if they want to do that. Or they just ride the tank train and then you get a high pick in 27. But you kind of got to start winning for Garrett and hopefully for Breece if he's on the team next year. Francois comes back, says, are there any Jet fans out there that actually want Glenn to stay? I can only think of one, and unfortunately, he's the owner. I don't think there's anyone that really wants him to stay necessarily. I think a lot of the fans that are saying he's going to stay, one, like you are saying that the owner wants to keep him in Woody, but I think the other part of this is that is there a coach out there that we are going to attract? Like, Vegas fires Pete Carroll, they're going to be more attractive than us, I would think, because of that number 1 overall pick. Like, the Giants have their quarterback. They got Malik Neighbors. They're going to have another number 2 pick or number 3 pick or whatever, number 5 if they win or however that falls down. They're going to have a top-end pick. They've got a pretty good roster, too. Like, I honestly, I like a lot of it when they're healthy. And then a full offseason adding more talent. I think they're pretty decent. Cam Ward's looking pretty decent. Titans might be an all right spot to land if you're a head coach. There's going to be a lot of competition and not a whole lot of big names that seemingly are floating around. I would just say, look at our last hiring cycle. Does that change enough for next year. If you could tell me, hey, we're going into next year and we're going to have Mike McCarthy as our head coach, and we're going to have Brian Daboll as our offensive coordinator, or whatever. Jim Schwartz is our defensive coordinator. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm on board. Let's fire Glenn. Let's get McCarthy in here. Like, I want an offensive-minded head coach for the young quarterback that's coming in. Like, I'm game. But I don't know how it's all going to shake out. I really don't. Let me scroll up a little bit. We'll go through some of the chat. What's up, Ryan? I think he means Ryan. What DC is going to take the job? No way Shula, no way Harris from the Bears. No way Leonard from wherever. I think he's in Denver. Jim Schwartz from Cleveland. What the heck are we going to do for DC? I mean, the pull ripcord is Glenn, unfortunately. Like, if we can't find anyone and Glenn's the guy, I don't know. It just is what it is, I guess. We're just expecting probably bad things at that point. Rich says, guys, everyone knows we're bad. We're actually committed to the tank for once. This is what we should be doing. We need the draft picks, and we need a quarterback. Yeah, I mean, you just got to hope you can get a coach, too, because I do think competent coaching is important. I think Harbaugh, paying attention to that situation is super interesting to me. Like, if he winds up getting fired or they decide to split ways, I would poke around Harbaugh and I would say, okay, are you looking to wait a year and then come back? Because we'll give our guy another shot. And then we'll roll out the red carpet. You ask us, blank check, it's yours, come on in, do whatever you want. You want the GM hat too? Fine, I don't care. Hopefully Muji hangs around. I kind of like what he's done so far. Granted, the roster on the field is bad, but I think some of that has to do with like leftovers from last year, obviously, and just sort of being late in the season, guys start to pack it in anyway. Landon, I think you're stuck with JJ next year. Give him the Clemens role and make him earn the starting spot. I mean, I think JJ can earn it. Hopefully, he's just fired back up. I think we do need to add probably 2 more edge rushers. We need to add like a lot to this defense. Probably got to add at least 1 D tackle, an edge rusher, 2 safeties, 2 linebackers. Got to add, like, plug up that whole middle. This is Zach Wilson draft year all over again. All we had to do was sit down, lose, and shut up. But no, now next year we do it all over again. I don't know if this was the Zach Wilson year. Like, Fernando Mendoza to me doesn't strike me as like the can't miss prospect that Trevor Lawrence was. I do think Mendoza has a very high floor, and I think the part that is interesting is like I don't want Moore and then Mendoza, those 2 guys to go 1-2, and then us to just be like, we're going Ty Simpson because he's the 3rd quarterback. If you love him, fine, make the pick. I don't care at that point. But I don't want to just take a quarterback to take a quarterback. I want it to be, like, we learned our lesson from the Zach deal. It's worth it to trade back if you don't like your guy. Or take best player available, which I think we can all agree we have a lot of needs, and best player available should be all right. Glenn wants to be a CEO coach. Yeah, well, he's doing a bad job of it. Which free agent can help be a cheerleader for Glenn in the locker room? I think it's probably going to be Anzalone. I don't know how close their like relationship is or not, but I would absolutely be trying to bring in a free agent linebacker. I would try to bring in a free agent safety, and then I would try to draft a linebacker and draft a safety. Mendoza's not there. I would trade down and build the team. I think I would stick and pick. It depends how much we're getting offered. At some point, you're going to have to start making some good player selections, and I feel like we're in a good spot to get a blue chip prospect this year. Arvell Reese is kind of a nice favorite of mine. Carnell Tate, I'd be cool with that. Like, add another stud Ohio State wide receiver. I think that would get Garrett hyped up. Build the offensive, supporting cast, and then you're primed for the quarterback whenever that guy does land. Freedom House says, pull the plug when you got the draft capital to set the next guy up for success with his own players. Yeah, I think it depends if you're going to allow Muji to make the head coaching selection. Because if Muji's picking the groceries now, Hopefully he's picking very good players that are a little scheme diverse. And hopefully we're going offensive-minded head coach anyway. Or hopefully our next head coach is going to be offensive-minded anyway. So if it's a quarterback, it's kind of you're going to attract whoever the quarterback attracts at that point. That's, I guess, part of the devil. Defensive-wise, you could either bring in guys that are going to run a scheme that fits the players that are here, or you can bring in someone that's going to have to then revamp things. And that would kind of suck if you drafted players for one regime that don't no longer fit for the next one. You kind of want to avoid that. Rams are down 21-0. Are they really? Is that what's going on right now? Now I got to look this up. Where the hell are they? Holy smokes. What the hell is going on with the Rams? Stafford has 2 interceptions. That'll do it. That's certainly... Wow, Bijan's got 125 yards at halftime and a touchdown. Does he have any receptions too? What's he at? So he's got 13 yards on the ground. Damn. 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 touchdown in the air. God, he's good. If Harbaugh gets fired, Woody needs to write him a blank check. Completely agree. I agree we can't trade up if Moore is there at 3. We need a lot of new players, defense, linebacker, safety, edge. Yeah, I'm kind of okay. Like, outside of linebacker, if you told me our first 4 picks were like quarterback, wide receiver, guard, and then a linebacker, like in some order, that's a fine first 4 picks for me. And I could roll into the back end of this draft and go like pump out some depth players. Go for linebacker depth. Go for D tackles. Go for get a kicker in here. Get some offensive linemen. Rich. What we really need to be talking about is how the NFL needs to investigate the Raiders for tanking, take away their pick. Everyone pray for the football gods. Look up the Max Crosby video. Yeah, I don't know how the NFL doesn't try to nip this. Because, like, it's very clear that the Giants, the Jets, the Browns, and specifically the Raiders all took, like, some pretty excessive steps to, like, make sure they were losing. I would like to see a lottery for the top 5 draft picks. The top 5 worst teams, you could rank it the same way we currently do it with Tankathon. The top 5 worst teams go into a lottery. Vegas, if they're the top team, just like the NBA, they get a highest percentage chance to get in the first pick, and then it gets decreasing odds the whole way down through 5. But then it gets spun around, and then all of a sudden, who knows? Maybe the 5th team normally would wind up with the first pick. I don't think it's great to have just a flat out worst team tankathon thing at the end. People calling for Glenn's job are clueless. He stated from the beginning that there is a plan in place. They are clearly tanking. If you can't take it, don't watch them. They're finally tanking right. Yeah, I'll be honest. I turned off the game at like halfway through second quarter. I was like, I shouldn't say I turned off the game. I pivoted and started paying attention to the Steelers-Browns game. I was like, this game means more for our draft stock than losing by an extra 3 touchdowns than what I saw or whatever. Yeah, this was... I think it would look bad for any head coaching candidate if Woody fires Glenn after 1 year, after you gave away all, like, 2 of his top defensive players, and he was in a year where he had, like, $75 million in dead cap. Like, this was a shitty team to take over. And unless there's, like, a really home run candidate that wants to come here, I think you run it back with Glenn, as much as that sucks. And then hopefully he just turns it around. Look, I'll be honest, I'm still pulling for the guy. If we can trade a 2 to move up and get more, that's not too much if we really like him, because if we don't get our quarterback this year, we might be trading multiple ones next year. Yeah, I would be fine giving up a 2 this year to secure the second spot. Hopefully the Giants can find a way to beat the the Cowboys, or the Raiders find a way to beat the Chiefs and we beat them on the strength of schedule, like I would love to land a top 2 pick without the need to trade up. If we're kind of indifferent on the quarterback, then I'm also fine just letting it roll and see if one of those players falls to us. I could be swung. I could be tempted either way. How have the players looked that Glenn and Muji drafted? Membu, stud. Taylor, good. AZ, good. Arian Smith sucks. More decent. Yeah, Smith hasn't seen the field. I think the reason we went out and got Mechie and Mitchell is because Smith hasn't looked good. Now, maybe that's just rookie, 4th round, undrafted free agent quality kind of wide receiver currently. Growing pains, like maybe he looks better next year, and I'm open to that idea. But yeah, I think your grading system currently is accurate for what we're seeing on the field. Jets fan, Mendoza is not the clear-cut number 1 quarterback in draft circles. I agree. I think there's certainly a possibility it goes more first. Sprocket, Flores was the guy I wanted last year. Maybe I get him this year. I would have a very hard time finding a way to like bring Flores in here after like going another defensive coach and drafting a quarterback feels like fucking negligence. Like I agree. I thought Flores was the guy. Flores was my top option last year outside of like the long shot of getting Vrabel. But Flores hates Miami. Flores hates the Patriots. Like that was the guy. Glenn also hates the Patriots. Glenn also hates the Dolphins. But he doesn't have the same fire that, like, Flores does. Like, when I looked at Flores, I was like, okay, his defense has been good. He just smacked the shit out of a Lions team that's offense was really good. Like, Flores, to me, is a very, very good coach. But I don't think that's happening. And I wouldn't endorse a defensive-minded head coach next anyway. I really wish we weren't in a place and had a season where getting a quarterback is a certainty. I just want more picks to be used on the god-awful defense. I want picks overall to just be used across the board. I don't think it necessarily has to be used on the defense. Honestly, I would be fine with like pumping as many of these picks into the offensive side and being like loaded on the offense and lose games because of the defense, but the quarterback is going to develop and look good and we're going to have fun. We're going to lose 48-44 or something like that next year and then still wind up with high picks and then, then start stacking people on the back end of the defense. I would be fine with something like that. Tank for Ty clearly likes Ty Simpson the most, and then he says more in Mendoza. I think people are going to have all sorts of rankings. It's a very long offseason, and like for as much love as Mendoza is getting right now, it could entirely change by the time the draft rolls around. Oreo says, Ryan, what's up, dude? My issue with Glenn is that he acts like he's smarter than anyone and yet produces 0 results. Don't you find it alarming this team is not getting off the bus? What do they do all week? It looks like they are clearly checked out. Like this team looks very, very disconnected from like the game. And they're not playing for anything right now. Like honestly, Stiggers, I think, was the only person outside of Breece Hall and Nick Folk that I could point to and be like, I can see the effort. Like maybe say the O-line is still like doing some stuff, but it's a very disappointing team to watch. Ooh, I like this. Josh should hire Josh McCown and draft Ty Simpson. I do like the swing of Josh McCown. I forget exactly how many offenses he's been in and how many offensive coordinators he's worked with. I had it written down last year as one of my talking points as a very interesting way to go. It's an outside-the-box hire. I just don't know if they make that kind of move. Ryan, if we take Tate, who's throwing him the ball? I mean, hopefully Malik Willis. Malik Willis in free agency would be my priority free agent. I think him and Linderbaum would be like the first 2 guys I would go to. And I would say right now, if you told me I could sign Malik Willis for like 2 years, $40 million, give him the Justin Fields deal, I would do that. Absolutely. If he says, I need a 3rd year, fine, fuck it. I'll do 3 years, on a Malik Willis, where it's really like a year and a half guaranteed, sure, green light. I think at the very least, that puts you in a scenario where you don't have to go quarterback. And then you still have him as a bridge for at least another year or two. So if Glenn really shits the bed and you don't trust him to make the quarterback selection now, then you have a situation where you got 3 first-round picks and the new head coach gets to make his quarterback selection, and you've already loaded up the roster with 4 high-end picks from the 2026 draft. So that's kind of where my thought process is, Jimmy. Did our fan base not watch the Steelers game where we outplayed them and won if we didn't fumble the football? That's Gibson on the special teams. Did we watch Tyrod games where we were 100% competitive? Yeah, I think this team's not as far off as the more recent scores have indicated. What's up, my Viles? Ryan, this embarrassment is what was needed for the front office to finally wake up. We have the assets, money, and capital to turn this joke into a playoff team. I hope we don't give them all up to try to get up to 1 or 2 or something like that. Like, stick at 3, flip a pick to get up to 2 if you want, but like, use those picks to build your future. If the Falcons win, does it ruin our path to number 1? It does. I don't know if it slams the door shut, like if we officially cannot overcome that. But we definitely needed the Rams to win tonight. So I'd have to see how the math works out afterwards. There aren't too many blue chip prospects other than linebacker Reese, running back Love, but we don't need a running back. Yeah, for me right now, if we don't go quarterback, Reese and Tate would be the top end pick for me. And then 18 would be like Lemon, the wide receiver from USC, Sonny Styles from Ohio State would be up there for me. Draft lottery coming soon to the NFL. I think it really has to. It would be nice if they decided to discuss it at this year's league meetings after like sort of how obvious these last like week or 2 have been. That Giants Raiders game was like an embarrassment. that was super bad. The fighting and like the Raiders just did not come to play at all. Levi says, yeah, let's do a lottery because that's not rigged. I mean, look, that is absolutely part of the problem. The NBA lottery is 100% rigged. 100%. Like, I guess the nice thing about a straight up tankathon thing that we have currently is that there's not really any rigging it necessarily. You'd have to have the refs in the game rig it, where like if it's a lottery, then the NFL can dictate who gets the number 1 pick. Which, I'll be honest, if it means less quarterbacks fail because they're ending up in better situations, that may not be like the worst thing that happens. Not that I want to see them rig anything. Just thinking out loud here. It's late on a Monday night. Ryan, what is attractive for free agents to come to the Jets with this coaching staff? That's my biggest reason for franchise tagging Brees. Like, we have $112 million in salary cap space, and not one fucking guy from another team that's a free agent is going to be like, oh yeah, I want to go to the Jets. Like, that's not happening. You have to be appealing. You have to have a quarterback. You have to have a coach someone wants. Like, we got to be scouring like the Denver roster and like the Lions roster and maybe find some cast-offs. Realistically, we're looking at tier 2, tier 3 players, which is fine. That's actually how I want us to approach free agency anyway. But Malik Willis, if you have to overpay a little bit to get him as quarterback, I think that is the correct move to make. Linderbaum, if you want to make him the highest paid center, go for it. I think that's a fine move to make. But outside of that, I don't think we're going to get many players coming here until they start losing options on places to go. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll play for the Jets instead of retire. Which I'm sure there's going to be some guys that are like, nah, yeah, I'll retire instead of go to the Jets. That might be a thing. Devin says Mendoza 1A, Moore 1B at pick 15. Simpson is no way, shape, or form ready for the NFL. He's a lot older, too. Not a lot older. He's 23. And he sat behind, God, who's that quarterback that ran all over the place last year that I was excited for? He was fun to watch. Not a quarterback, but basically like young Justin Fields. Willis is Temu Fields. I don't know. Willis has looked pretty good. I don't know if Fields has really looked up to snuff. I think you have to have a fallback. You have to have some bridge signed here. If you want to go Mariota, go the cheaper route. Sure, I'm cool with that. This is a bad year to kind of need a bridge quarterback. Dante Moore is not declared yet. I know he hasn't declared, but it would be really friggin' foolish of him not to declare. Like, it would be negligence for his representation, whether that's his family or an agent or, whoever's guiding him, to say, oh no, go back to Oregon for the NIL money, which Arch is getting 6, and that's the top in collegiate football. So, let's say he's making 5. Are you going to turn down $40 million fully guaranteed from the NFL over 4 years, not including your 5th-year option, to go back for $5 million and risk a Drew Allar injury? And your OC left for Kentucky? I'm sorry. I would question Dante Moore and his intelligence if he goes back to school. Ask Cade Klubnik and Allar and I guess lesser extent Nussmeier, those guys, guys that were thought of to be very, very high picks. Nussmeier's probably the highest of all of them. He'll probably go second round. If you're a top end pick, you gotta come out. James, what's good, dude? I don't think lottery works in the NFL. Too few chances. Losing teams make the playoffs at times, and the Jags and Finns came back from 1-7. Yeah, well, yeah, because the lottery, I wouldn't say a lottery for a top end of teams, but if you said the top 5 picks were a lottery, I think that's all right. Jay Quest, Ryan, I saw you run the 40 at Florham Park. Any chance you can play cornerback this week? I used to play corner in high school. Daddy's put on a little bit of playing weight or a little bit of a little extra poundage. Still kind of quick. I'd like to train for that next year. Give myself a little bit better odds of running a little faster. Jalen Milroe, that was the quarterback I was thinking of. And Simpson couldn't beat him out, or at least they weren't putting him in over him. I'm not even saying Glenn is the guy. I'm saying if you're going to tank, give the coach a chance to get more of his guys and try winning games or tanking guys, you evaluate the team differently. Yeah, that's sort of where I'm hung up on. If Glenn is clearly tanking to try and get the quarterback without giving up the assets, it's hard to get rid of that dude. That, you would probably blackball yourself from a lot of head coaches in this league if that's how things went down. He might not declare because he could get drafted by the Jets. I hate to break it to him, but any team that's picking at the top end of the draft is going to be a bad team. So, it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Jake? What does Aaron Glenn do well as a head coach? Honestly, fucking nothing. I have not seen jack shit from Aaron Glenn all season long. He does a nice high step and swinging his arms. That's all we got. Aside from the nostalgia of Aaron Glenn the player and him being one of us and sticking it to the media early on, he's gonna get every shot thrown his way because of the shots he took at the media early on in the season. But man, this is gonna be a very, very bad offseason. I don't think he's gonna attract talent here. I think if the Jets want to get good players, they're going to have to overpay, which I don't endorse that. I'd rather get the guys that want to come here and pay appropriately and just keep chipping away at it like that. Don't overpay for mediocre talent. I think if it wasn't for how I don't think we can attract a good head coach right now. Like, we got a lot of picks and stuff, and that's attractive. If you could back channel some head coaching search, that's okay. But Glenn certainly has a lot further to go. Will it shock me if they fire him? No. I would just not be betting on it. Regardless of who our bridge quarterback is, their skill set needs to be similar to our rookie so the offense can be the same for both and the vet can mentor the rookie. I guess the tough part is you don't necessarily know who your rookie's going to be because you should be signing your bridge quarterback earlier than the draft. A lot of these guys are going to be signed prior to that. Do you take a gamble that, like, Daniel Jones is, like, a bridge quarterback and he's, like, healthy by the start of next year? God, I wouldn't want to do that. I feel sacrilegious even saying it out loud. Why would Dante Moore want to come out next year's loaded class when he's guaranteed a top 5 pick this year? Thank you, Jets fan. That's what I'm saying. Like, Dante Moore would be fucking foolish to go back to school. You got to come out. Did anyone here expect AG to even have a winning record with this shit team? No. I had us at, did I have us at 5 wins or 6 wins? I think I had us at 6 wins for this year. I called it a soft tank. I wish our corners could backpedal as well as Glenn did today. And if you're a CEO coach and you think Justin Fields and Wilkes is the answer, I don't think any rational Jet fan that watches ball thought Fields was the answer. I think, like, my rationale for Fields was that he would play poorly enough to get us a high pick, but would be fun and entertaining to watch for a year. He was fun and entertaining for a portion of time, and then he just was not, like, at all. So I like the attempt or swing at Fields, but I was not, like, disillusioned. Like, I think that was fine. Wilkes as the answer for DC, I thought that was stupid. That didn't really make sense to me. Oreo. Ryan, it'd be so Jetsy for the Jets to draft Mendoza, end up 4-12 next year. Glenn gets fired. They miss generational talent in the 27 draft, and Mendoza ends up being a bust. Matter of fact, I'm calling it. I mean, that may happen. It's like, it sucks because our owner's old. He's going to want a quarterback. That's why I think Malik Willis is super interesting, because at least Willis gives you the opportunity to, like, see Glenn with a quarterback that looks like he's playing the part. And then if you want to take a swing at Alar in the mid rounds or something like that, or Klubnik or Nussmeier, then you can kind of get me on board and say, like, okay, well, hey, look, he's got his swing in a rookie that they kind of like. They got a swing at a free agent that's people are talking about right now. And then if it doesn't work, then you pull the plug, and then the next guy isn't overly committed to a particular player that he can then make that selection. But I would like to believe that Muji is going to be picking the next head coach or be a part of that. So that way Muji still has a hand on the roster. Like, so far, I have liked a good chunk of Muji's moves. Who's your top choice during the 27 head coaching search? I mean, if John Harbaugh leaves Baltimore this year, I think he takes a year off, and I would throw stupid money at him. That would be my top choice. I think McCarthy could come back into the fold this year. I think Daboll could certainly be an option. I like Daboll prior to the Jets hiring Saleh, and then he wound up going back to Buffalo for a year. I mean, honestly, you could convince me this year. No, I think Daboll should probably be an OC for a year. But those would be two names. McCarthy kind of jumps out at me. I don't know if I love the idea of going to college coach and bringing them to the NFL. I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone else that's really, like, jumping off the page. Like, I don't particularly want to go with, like, Mike Tomlin if there was some sort of split up there. I feel like he's just a perennial, like, I guess he's a perennial, like, get you to the playoffs and then just never have a shot. Like, that's sort of irritating in and of itself. I don't know. Jake, what would your coaching choice be in 27? Harbaugh is going to be mine. John Harbaugh is my answer. Lock it in. Rome wasn't built in a day. Nope. Was it built in 15 years? Because it feels like we should be moving a little quicker than that. Green Bean is my top choice. That's a good man right there. Green Bean's my top choice too. Green Bean for GM. Head coach might be different. The Salad Guys regression is concerning. Don't get me wrong, but those weren't Muji and Glenn picks. I want to see their guys develop. And so far, we've objectively seen positive signs. I was talking to some guys today at work, 2 other diehard Jet fans, Kevin and Jim. What's up, boys? We were talking about, talk about the coaching staff we had when we first got Zach. Like, I really liked Saleh. I still really like Saleh. I'll be honest. Like, I think we submarined Saleh with Rodgers. And I'm fine with that. Like, I think Rodgers was the right decision. I thought it was the best swing with a young team that's talented. Like that, I was all about it. And unfortunately, it just didn't work out with Saleh. But I think Saleh is going to be a good coach at the next spot he lands. We kind of neutered him a little bit with that personality. I like Ulbrich. I thought Ulbrich's like a good dude. I liked LaFleur as the OC. Would have been nice if we had Greg Knapp as well. We ended up just having to like cut LaFleur because Zach Wilson sucks. Oreo playoffs. What's that? Give me Mike Tomlin. You're crazy, Ryan. I don't think I would not turn down Mike Tomlin. Put it that way. I do see why Steelers fans are tired of him. I think when you have so many years in a row of being like relevant in the regular season and just irrelevant as soon as the playoffs start. Like you play one extra game consistently. Like I could see where that could wear on you. Now, Jet fans on the other side of it, like we just want to see competent football. If Tomlin's going to give us competent football and guys are going to play hard for him year in and year out, like that's a net positive for us. We'll take that. Has Ryan been hitting the gym? You damn right. Yeah. No. Been lifting kids up and down the stairs. Not hitting the gym. Ravens versus Steelers in a win could decide the fate of whether Harbaugh, Tomlin, to be honest, kind of feel like both are one and done. If neither can bring their organizations over the top, gonna be much harder here. I think both guys would sit out one hiring cycle. That's why I'm almost fine with Glenn for another year. I think you wait, let Glenn take his lumps, try to see if he could turn it around. I think that builds some goodwill around the league. It gives you an opportunity to see your team improve, to attract another head coach. Don't trade the 3 first-round picks you got next year. Keep those 3 first-round picks in your back pocket, and then you're going to be like a prime landing spot for a head coach. Trade for Lamar or sign Willis, Linderbaum at center, Romeo Doubs as wide receiver 2 in free agency, and that will attract more free agents to come to the Jets. I mean, if you could get Lamar, you have to look into it, right? Like, how much of Lamar is him being disgruntled with the Ravens? How much of it is like, is there a personality thing that's an issue? Does he even want to come here? Like, that's the thing. He's going to have a no trade clause. So I think he's going to want to go to Miami. That's kind of where people have been like sort of penciling him in. Cuddy, what do you think compensation would be for Lamar? I think it's 2 firsts. I think you'd have to give up 4 and 17 or 4 and whatever our pick is, 4 and 18. I would, if we had a better team, I would do it. I don't feel confident in our team, and it would be like just watching Lamar run for his life next year. I mean, we have a good offensive line. I mean, maybe if you get Lamar and you're like, okay, hey, we're hitting the ground running. That gets Brees back. That gets Garrett excited. You bring in another wide receiver through the draft in the second round. Like, I think you could sell me on the idea of Lamar. And if you're not going to attract free agents anyway, then fucking throw all the money at a quarterback for a year, front load it. I don't know. I like the idea of like drafting our guy though. And Lamar also at 29, like the Ravens don't let players leave generally. They're a really good, well-run organization. So if they're letting Lamar leave, like that's probably a massive red flag. If the Ravens want 3 firsts for Lamar, I mean, there's probably a team out there that would give 3 firsts. I mean, the guy could have had a 3rd MVP last year. They gave it to Allen, but I think it could have just as easily gotten to Lamar. Lamar's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. So I would be, if they made that decision, all right, we're doing things, but like, I don't think there's enough here to win with Lamar. Like, if Lamar's not winning with Baltimore right now, like, it doesn't strike me as like a winning spot here. And there's the fear that he could be washed. That's got to be a major concern. Would you trade a first-round pick for a real head coach? Who's the head coach? Who's that guy? Does Reed become available? No. I would trade a first for Andy Reid. I would trade a first for Jim or John Harbaugh. Like the Colts pick, I guess. I don't remember how much the Broncos gave up for Sean Payton, but that looks fucking worthwhile. Also, did you hear Lamar made them switch practice time so he could play video games? I did not hear that. That's fucking crazy. I don't love that. If that's true, I don't like that. Wouldn't touch Lamar. He could be great, but his game is built on athleticism. If he declines because he's getting hit too much, we're screwed. I mean, he's what, 29 right now, or will be 29 soon. Like, that's kind of where guys start to go the other direction. Like, I don't remember. How old was Michael Vick when he was with us? Let's see. So he was with the Jets at age 34. So we got him 5 years after Lamar's current age. I mean, Philly got 2 really good years out of Vic right out of prison. Flyer in the second round. Finns can't pay Lamar and take $99 million to a cap hit. I'm wondering if there's... I don't know how Lamar gets traded either, though. That's the thing. I'm interested to see what happens with Tua. Tua, to me, feels like a very odd contract to have to navigate because he got paid so recently. So he's got $54 million guaranteed next year. $3 million of his salary in 27 becomes guaranteed at the beginning of the new league year, so that's not prohibitive. But yeah, that's if you designate him a post-June 1st cut, what is that, $67 million in dead cap? And Dolphins are in a weird spot. Let's see what Lamar's contract is. Lamar, you'd have him for 2 years at 51.25 each of the next 2 years. It'd be his age 29 and age 30 seasons. He's got $29 million in guaranteed money for next year. God. Find out about the injuries. Figure out the personal stuff. Like if he's... I don't want a diva in here either. That's the thing. Like if he's having people switch practice times. What premier head coach wants to report to Woody? Probably not many. Probably not many. Kevin, Tomlin might not be good enough for the Steelers, but he'd be our best coach since Parcells. One man's trash is another person's treasure. Yeah, I mean, that's true. We've gotten a first-time head coach for, I think, aside from Adam Gase, every time, right? Since then. Did Al Groh coach the Steelers or the Patriots? Do I have that timeline right? He was prior to Belichick. So I guess he would have been, I don't know. Lamar in Miami, May in New England, Allen in Buffalo. Fuck, we need a stud more than ever now. Yeah, that would be a brutal division to be in. That would not be fun. Joe Burrow is a pocket passer any day. Joe Burrow is a pocket passer any day over Lamar, who's a running quarterback. I mean, I'd be happy with either one of those guys. They're light years above anything we've got. Is Lamar now like a Lamborghini, always in the shop? Yeah, right now, for sure. Malik Willis is fool's gold. I don't know. Maybe. It's possible. The tough part with Malik Willis is like he's got a really good receivers, and he's got a really good offensive-minded head coach. He's not going to have any of that here. Last time he played with our quarterback coach, he was playing like dog shit. Let me ask you, Ryan, bottom of the barrel versus one and done in the playoffs. Steelers fans are what you called spoiled. I'll take one and done over being a laughingstock for the next 10 years. So one and done if you could tell me I could sign up for a one and done for 10 years straight, would I do it? No, because I know the outcome is still losing. It would be far more entertaining. Would I take Tomlin and his next 10 years over what we've been through the last 15? Yes, absolutely. But like knowing ahead of time, like, hey, look, you're capped at just getting into the playoffs, I'd probably say no. The Jets are notorious for passing on great quarterbacks. Yeah, don't pass on a quarterback. I don't know what to tell you. I said I was going to go to the phone lines. I'm not going to do that now. I've had so much fun talking to the chat that I've exceeded the time limit that I was really planning on going for here. Not me to say aside fro. What's up, Brian? Aside fro? Is that what you're talking about? A little puffy hair. I hopped in the shower before I got here, and part of my hair is a little fluffy. If that's what you're talking about. Gave Ryan a panic attack with the AFC East quarterback outlook. Oh no, I'm well aware of Lamar potentially going there. How much does strength of schedule go down with Rams win? I don't know if it totally puts us off of, let me see if I can figure it out. I think it was a 1-star game, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's a 1-star game. So we'll probably be at, I'm just going to ballpark guess. I have no idea if this is true or not. I think we're going to be at 0.549. No, 0.55 will be my guess. I'm going to say we go up 0.02. And then we need Tennessee to beat Jacksonville, the Browns to beat Cincinnati, the Giants to beat Dallas, the Bears to beat the Lions, the Chargers to beat Denver, and New England to beat Miami. I would bet, I would think we're not getting the first pick. So we just got to hope the Raiders, well, probably won't beat them on strength of schedule either. Just got to hope the Giants can pull out a win. Get Daboll as a quarterback coach. Let him decide who to draft a quarterback. I'm cool with that. I don't know if he'd take that role. But yeah, I would do that. You excited for Indiana versus Alabama? Yes. Very much looking forward to that. I want to sit myself on the couch and not move. Jets really need to use their number 1 picks on the best defensive players in the draft, sign a veteran quarterback, maybe Mariota, and draft best quarterback in the 2027 class. I'm fine with that. If that's the game plan, I'm on board. Just keep building out the roster. Get someone that can facilitate the ball. Yeah, the Rams losing tonight hurts their pick owned by the Falcons as well, which pushes a team that also might want a quarterback a little bit further down. So that means Atlanta's already at 5. What's their tank? Or no, sorry. Atlanta's already at 11. If Atlanta were to lose, it would drop that pick to the 12th pick. So they only fall down 1 spot if Atlanta wins. Fire Angstrash and hire Daboll and draft any quarterback that's trash, and he will make them a star. If you could convince Daboll to be the OC, as much as I like Engstrand, I would go with Daboll. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Daboll's going to go. I don't know where Daboll goes. I feel like he's going to take a year off, though. I feel like most coaches go down and be like an OC for a year. Unless they're like, you know, a legit head coach that's been around for a while, like a Reed or a Parcells or a Belichick or a Sean Payton, Vrabel. I feel like those guys take a year and then go. Jet Engine, I'm only here because Fallout 4 keeps crashing. Bethesda never changes. Dude, well, I'm glad you're here. And I hate to make you so sad, but my ass is, I'm tired. Going to bed. Call it a night. Really appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. I'll be on live tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, with myself, O'Leary, and Dom C. Dom's going to be our 3rd panelist for tomorrow. Green Bean's not with us again. So we're wishing him well. But we will be talking a little bit more Talking Jets tomorrow, getting some insight into the quarterbacks. I'm excited to pick Dom's brain. He wasn't able to come on tonight. He had some prior commitments, so wasn't able to talk a little ball. Him and I bounced back and forth a little bit, but I will talk to you guys tomorrow. The poll question, if Jets pick at number 3, will they select, or they will select, 48% of the poll says Dante Moore. I'd be totally fine with that. Stay at 3, take Dante Moore. It's a win in my book. All right, gang. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.